Hey guys, welcome back to Kiss Means, and before we start, again, sorry about all this stuff. I have my blinds open, and I would close them for you guys, but I just really like the way they, look. And we're gonna go ahead and we're going to react to Week 8. This will be my NFL Week 8 reactions. We're over halfway done with the season now, and we are now officially in the second half. It's weird to think about it, but we are. We're gonna go through everything that happened during Sunday. So if you hear from Monday Night Recap, at the time of me recording this, Monday Night Football hasn't even happened yet. So that video should be up on my channel. It will be uploading on Tuesday, the November 3rd, 2020. So go ahead and find that. And also, if you're looking for a Thursday Night Recap, that uploaded last Friday. Date, I do not know. I completely forgot. Like the 29th or something. Let's go ahead and talk about the first game. We're going to talk about the Saints playing the Bears. This was one of the better games this week. It went into overtime 23-23. I honestly thought the Bears would get blown out. They played a lot better than I thought they would. But a lot of that had to do with the fact that the Saints just really need Michael Thomas. They're 5-2, and that's not a bad record in the slightest, but the way they're playing, the way they're getting these wins, I just feel like they'd be doing it a lot better if they actually had Michael Kamara. You look at the Bears, they bounced back from last week in my opinion, but they still didn't play very well. They definitely, they're 5-3, so I think they're, around that area, a little bit worse than that. They've got some easy games coming up. Really, the only couple hard games they have coming up are maybe like against the Packers, because they haven't played the Packers yet. They played them twice. Anyways, next up, Patriots versus the Bills. Patriots got beat 24-21, and a lot of you might be saying, oh, that's close, so the Patriots bounced back. No, had a lot to do with the fact that the Bills have been underperforming these past couple of weeks, and I know you can always just go back to that game against the Titans. That's when it all started to fall apart. Well, it hasn't fallen apart yet. They're still 6-2. That's a pretty good record, but they got blown up by the Titans. They had a pretty bad game against the Chiefs. Then we saw last week they managed to win, but it wasn't a very good win against by far the worst team in the league in the Jets. And then they go up against the Patriots, and again, they only beat them by 3, and Cam Newton had a terrible game again. Really, the Patriots offense didn't do anything, and the Bills offense just couldn't. It barely kept up. And in my opinion, the Bills, while they did get the win, they are still one of the, I would say they're on the upper half, like in the top 16 teams in the league. They are definitely, they're moving down, and right now they're 6-2. They really, at this point, if you're 6-2, you kind of just got to coast. You got to go 4-6, or 4-4. But halfway through the season, they're 6-2. They really, with the way the division's going, they gotta. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in a fight with the Dolphins for the division. Sorry, I keep on bending over. Next up, we have Titans versus Bengals. Bengals get a blowout. Well, not blowout win, but they get an 11-point win, 31-20 over the Titans. I did not expect that. Both teams, I know it was an 11-point difference, but both teams, they actually played pretty well, in my opinion. And the Bengals offense, and we're finally starting to see them click. We've been seeing that over the past couple of weeks. Against the Colts, and definitely against this game. Against the Colts, Browns, this game. These past 3 weeks have really been their best games by far. We're starting to see them click. We're starting to see kind of what we're going to see next year. I know I've said this a lot, but I have a feeling they're going to be something like the Cardinals. Cardinals last year, they drafted a quarterback first overall, had a mediocre season, and then they went back next year, or obviously this year, and they are playing really well. The Bengals, they drafted Joe Burrow first round. Right now, he's having a mediocre year. They're 2-5-1, which is definitely not good, but it's mediocre. And then you have to wonder, are they going to come back next year better than they were? I know, obviously, one of the big reasons the Cardinals are good is because they stole DeAndre Hopkins from the Texans, basically. But the Bengals, they definitely do still have a lot of talent. They just need to add to that offense. We'll see what they can do next year. The Titans, on the other hand, still doing pretty well. They're still 5-2. They still have a pretty good offense. I wouldn't be too down on them just because they got a couple losses. Next up, Raiders versus Browns. Raiders managed to win this game 16-6. It was a very, very defensive game. Both of these teams didn't play very well offensively, but on the Raiders, Josh Jacobs had one of his better games. He definitely might have been the best offensive player this. He might have been for both teams, really. He might have been the MVP offensive player of this game. It was pretty defensive. Both defenses showed out. The Browns, I know they only scored 6 points, but I wouldn't say that they played horribly. I definitely do think that Baker Mayfield is holding them back, but I don't think that he played too badly. They're still 5-3. The Raiders 4-3, looking pretty good, but the Browns, they are still 5-3. They're still in the thick of things, and they are still ready to roll. Let's trying to make these videos. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I'm trying to make these videos quicker. They always end up being like 17 minutes long, and I do not like doing that. Next up, we have Colts versus Lions. The Lions get beat by 20 points, 41-21. Matthew Stafford, surprisingly, you wouldn't guess it by looking at the score. He had a very, very good game. The bad part about the Lions offense is the fact that I'm pretty sure their leading rusher for this game had 11 yards total. So right now, they just completely leaned on their passing game, and their running game was kind of just thrown out the window. They really didn't have a running game. Look at the Colts. They're seriously looking like a really good team. They've had a couple off games. Obviously, they're 5-2, but they really have started to click. We're starting to see that Phillip Rivers, he is not washed up. The Colts, they are kind of looking not as good, but close to what they were with Andrew Luck. And I know, the Phillip Rivers is not what Andrew Luck was in any means, but he definitely is a pretty good start. They're 5-2. We'll see. If they're 6-2 at the half, their defense is one of the best in the league. Their offense is clicking, and we'll see. I have a pretty. The rest of their season looks really good. Next up, Vikings versus Packers. Vikings get the upset win, 28-22. Dalvin Cook, monster game, 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground, 1 in the air. And the Packers underperformed in this game. Just 2 weeks away from that Buccaneers game whenever they flopped. So, they've had a couple off games over these past couple weeks. I wouldn't freak out too much. They only lost by 6 to the Vikings, and that offense has looked pretty good throughout the season. I know, obviously, the 2-5, it hasn't looked amazing, but in some games, it has, looked pretty well. Obviously, in that game against the Texans, but in other games, too, it has looked pretty good. And the Vikings, in my opinion, I don't know what happened to them, but they're just not playing well, and they went out there and they showed basically the best that they can be. They're 2-5. I think this season is done for them, but they do still have some fight in them. They're going to keep on playing for as long as they can. Next up, I wouldn't be surprised to see this team get knocked out of the playoffs sometime soon. We have Jets versus Chiefs. Oh, the Jets are 0-8 now. Oh, that is just sad. They got beat 35-9. I feel like every single week the Jets get worse. It's like every week. It's like, how bad are the Jets going to play this week? And it's getting blown out by 26. The Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes had 5 touchdown passes. The Chiefs are, looking like Super Bowl. They definitely might be Super Bowl. I wouldn't be surprised to see another Super Bowl run for them. Back Super Bowls, maybe. Yeah, the Jets. Even with Darnold, Darnold was dead. We can say it now. 100% Darnold, he was a bust. Okay, yeah, he would play better without Gase, but I don't think he would play as good as Jets fans would have you think. Also, they're 0-8, and they still have Adam Gase sitting around. Like, what's the deal with that again? I don't know. Anyways, yeah, they are by far the worst team in the league. They are far below probably like the second worst team, which is like the Giants or something. Anyways, Rams versus Dolphins coming up next. The Dolphins looked great out there. They had a 28-17 win over the Rams. The Rams offense did not play very well. In fact, Tua Tagovailoa he threw for less than 100 yards, but he still had a pretty good game. I think it was like 12 for 22. So I wouldn't be too mad about the fact he threw for under 100 yards. But the Dolphins definitely looking like serious contenders to make the playoffs this season. If they keep it up, if Tua goes out there and balls, which obviously, looking at this game, going up against one of the best defenses in the league that the Rams have, the Dolphins are serious contenders. Okay, the Dolphins are serious playoff contenders. They are serious divisional contenders. With the way the Jets, obviously 0-8, are playing badly. The Patriots, Cam Newton is flopping. The Bills, like I said, they're very badly underperforming. If they get into a tough stretch of the schedule, they'd be down in seconds. And right now, the Dolphins, the Rams, the Bills are taking advantage of the fact that they just played the Jets and the Patriots, two of some of the pretty bad teams in this league. I think the Dolphins seriously have a pretty good chance in this division and in this, not in this league, but in this, I don't know if they can make the playoffs if they lost in the division, but we'll see what happens. I'm just saying they're contenders. I would not be surprised to see them in the playoffs this season. Next up, Steelers versus Ravens. I wanted this to be flex this Sunday Night Football, but it wasn't. It was a pretty good game. Steelers won 28-24. The Steelers are 7-0, and they remain the only undefeated team in the league. The Ravens lost, and we can see that the Steelers might have the best defense in the league. And you add on top of that the fact that the Ravens, I think their offense has regressed, in my opinion. Looking at what we saw last year and looking at what we're seeing this year, I honestly believe that the Ravens offense has regressed from what we saw last year. The stats are just getting worse, and you can see in the fact that they only scored 24 points. And I know, like I said, the Steelers are one of the best defenses in the league, but you're going up against a powerhouse like the Ravens. You'd expect it to be a higher scoring game than that. The Steelers, though, only scored 28 points. Their offense is definitely their weakness, but they're still 7-0. And they play Dallas next week, so they're going to be 8-0. Chargers versus Broncos. The Broncos had a comeback win from, I think, down 24-3, or 23-3, 24-3, I don't know, somewhere in that range. But the Chargers, they keep on choking. They're 2-5. They're turning into the Falcons more than the Falcons are the Falcons at this point. Because the Falcons, at least they managed to hold on to that lead against the Panthers. They got the good defensive stop there to, hold on to the game. But the Chargers, come on. Literally the last play of the game was a touchdown that let the Broncos win at 31-30. Yeah, I feel bad for Chargers fans. But on the bright side, Justin Herbert continues to ball out. The Chargers are still playing great football. And the Broncos, in my opinion, aren't playing too well. They definitely have bounced back from the past couple of weeks. They did look like a much better football team. But I'm not going to overreact from 1 week. And if the Broncos keep it up next week, they'll definitely move up. Well, this isn't power rankings, what are you talking about? Next up, 49ers versus Seahawks. Seahawks won 37-27. A worse game than I thought it would be, but the same outcome. Seahawks win. Seahawks are definitely elite. They bounced back from that devastating loss last week, and they showed we still got it. We lost one game, but we're still going to be in it. We're 6-1. And the Seahawks, they definitely are one of the best teams in the league, and they are looking at the Super Bowl right now. They are serious contenders for the Super Bowl. And this game kind of proves it because the 49ers, they might be in a Super Bowl hangover, but really probably not. They used to have a pretty good team. It's just a lot of injuries. I think if the 49ers are completely healthy, they still would have lost this game. I'm looking every now and then. I look at my recording because I look at the camera, but I also look at my recording. Anytime I'm looking like this, I'm looking at the recording. Okay. Anytime I'm looking like this, I'm looking right at my camera. This light right here is making me mad. And we only have one more game to talk about. Cowboys Eagles. Why was this a Sunday night football game? Nobody knows. It was a 23-9 whooping. The Eagles beat the Cowboys. The Cowboys just couldn't get anything done on offense. And the sad thing is that one of the only good things they had on this offense was Ezekiel Elliott. And he was, always consistent. He's always been one of the best running backs. Now, in my opinion, the best running back on that team is Tony Pollard. And they just keep feeding Zeke despite the fact that he's not playing very well this. And I know I'm not talking about the fumbles. I'm talking about, he's not. People were saying that early in the season he wasn't, doing too well because he wasn't getting enough carries. But right now he's getting all the carries. He was getting everything. Well, we saw that these past couple weeks whenever they played against the Cardinals in Washington, he didn't do anything. This week they put in a 7th round pick, Ben DiNucci, the rookie. And because, they came out and they started running the ball, but whenever they were losing by a bunch, they started letting Ben DiNucci throw the ball. Surprisingly, the Cowboys were up at halftime 9-7, and the Eagles just went in there and scored 16 points. And the Broncos, they took a safety so they could kick an onside kick, which is the dumbest thing ever. I would rather just punt the ball to my other team. They had 6 minutes left. Yeah, you're down by 12 points, but still, that means that you could let them kick a field goal and it's still only a 2-point game. I'll never understand it, but the Cowboys, definitely one of the worst teams in the league, and the Eagles, sadly, it's going to be between them and the football team, and in my opinion, I think the Eagles are better, and it's NFC East. And like I said, the Cowboys play the Steelers next week, so looking like they're going to be a 2-7 record. Sad thing is, the NFL analysts refuse it. They always, sorry if you're seeing an in-depth look at all my pimples. I'll just discussing this is my face. The NFL analysts refuse to talk about how bad this Dallas team is. They never say they're bad. They always say, Ezekiel Elliott, one of the best running backs in the league, just having an off game for him. He's having an off couple of freaking seasons. It's sad to see this this Cowboys defense, which is so talented and so good, play this badly simply because of injuries. What? I'm sorry. I'm a Cowboys hater 100%. But that is not true. Like, yes, I would love for them. I mean, I'm a Washington fan, obviously. I would love for them to go out there and say, the Cowboys are the worst team in the league. But that's never going to happen. I just want them to be truthful. The Cowboys have been blown out 3 weeks in a row. 2 of those times were by some terrible teams. The Washington football team, one of the worst teams in the league. Well, not one of the worst teams, but like down there with that. They got blown out by 22 points. Should have been 25, but freaking Dustin Hopkins missed a field goal. This year, they go up against the Eagles. Definitely one of the subpar teams in the league. They get blown out by 14 points. No one's going to talk about it. They're going to talk about it. I would not be surprised if they flex Steelers and Cowboys to Sunday Night Football because it's a great rivalry. Ooh, a 2-6 team against a 7-0 team should never be a Sunday Night Football game. Maybe if they set it up before the season, it should never be flexed onto a Sunday Night Football game. But I don't know why I'm getting mad about that, and it's probably not even going to happen, but I would not be surprised to see them do that. It's stupid. Cowboys fans are going to say I'm a hater, and I am. All right, thank you guys all so much for watching this video. No one's going to watch to the end, so if you are, comment apricot, and I will acknowledge you. Comment anything on that. You go ahead. Subscribe if you like football. We discuss stuff every single week. I know that I didn't post at all this weekend. It's because Washington didn't play, and all my posts on the weekends are normally about Washington. Don't know why I've been over this much. Hope to see you guys in the next one. In fact, I know I'll see you in the next one. Where else?